Up at the Brule Suite, and quite a group of people here today talking about the wind farm situation that potentially could have implications for the Isle of Man. And I'm very delighted to have Mr. Woodward from the Steam Packet company, who doesn't do that many interviews with us. This has obviously brought you out to make the point, which you've been doing in press releases, but you haven't done it in a one-to-one interview for ages, about the implications of what potentially could happen if these wind farms are built in the Irish Sea. What do you make of it?
Well, it's a very serious issue, and I think we have been, in fairness to the Steam Packet, we've been making a noise about wind farms for quite some time now. And as I said that earlier in the meeting we had today, we've been talking to developers for probably 2 years now, and we frankly feel that we're not getting very far at the moment.
You've taken us through a presentation which is online for us to see, but the implications are that there could be delays and changes to the sort of selling patterns if they go ahead with the plans that are on the screen at the moment.
Yes, absolutely, and this isn't just about the Steam Packet. Obviously we would much prefer that our routes are left alone, but it does have serious implications for the Isle of Man as a whole, because we are an integral part of the society here and our services are absolutely key to the island's success. So we recognise that there's a fight that we have to fight, but there's also a bigger fight for the industry in the island.
Are they likely to go ahead with what they're going to do without listening to you or anyone else in the Isle of Man?
Well, my own view are that they have a clear requirement to meet their own targets for renewable energy, and that they are a fairly strict criteria they have to meet, and I think it's going to be very difficult for them to be able to meet those criteria unless they develop wind farms in the Irish Sea, in the zones that we're talking about. Now the question is how many of those zones have to be developed and to what extent they have to be developed. So I don't doubt for a moment that we will see wind farms built, and I don't doubt that some of them will have an effect on the Isle of Man Steam Packet Company and the island. The question is, how good a fight can we put up to make sure that that effect is minimised?
Now it appears that they've listened to the concerns of some people using the Irish Sea, but this is potentially just between the UK and going to Ireland. They haven't really looked at you at all.
Well, I think they've done what a company would do in these circumstances. They've attempted to take surveys to assess various issues, business issues which relate to the development of the wind farm, and clearly one of those issues is traffic at sea. Now, if you were to do a plot of traffic at sea, you would conclude, without knowing anything else, that the busy routes are those between England and Ireland, and that those between England and the Isle of Man were perhaps not quite so busy, and that's exactly what's happened here.
What can you do about it?
Well, we can do what we're doing. We can make as much noise as possible. We can build a broad alliance with people on the Isle of Man, including government, who have a serious interest in making sure that these effects are ameliorated, and we're doing that, and we will continue to do that. But ultimately, we are in the hands of the UK Department for Transport, who will ultimately decide whether or not, through their planning inspectorates, that these wind farms can go ahead as currently formulated or not.
I mean, the people from the wind farms have been over to the Isle of Man. They put out presentations. Is that a fair example of what is going to happen, do you think, or are they not being exactly transparent?
Well, I think I don't want to say they're not being transparent, but what I would say is that they have focused very much on their own developments, and I think our key issue here is that this isn't about a case of 1 or 2 or 3 developers each doing their own wind farm and in isolation there being no issue with it. This is about the cumulative effect, and the cumulative effect, when you look at a map with all of these things on them, is potentially to create what I've called a virtual wall of wind farms between the Isle of Man and the UK. And I think that's the serious point here. You know, these seas are very congested as it is. There are already gas rigs, oil installations, etc. at sea. When the wind farms, as proposed, are all built, you know, there is very little freedom for navigational movement, which we have had historically for more than 180 years.
And do you believe that could cause you and your passengers dangers in the future if it goes ahead?
I think there are certainly navigational issues to be resolved, and I think there are also comfort and connectivity issues involved, because people rely on Steam Packet services. If the weather's bad, that's one thing, but if the weather's bad but it's otherwise would have been doable had there not been wind farms, then people clearly are going to lose a higher number of sailings than they would like to be the case, and that's our real concern.
Now, you have sent press releases out about this over the time. You're racking this up, and to do the interview today, which is we're obviously very grateful for. I mean, is this not what you need to do now more of? Be up there and fronting the criticism and offsetting what potentially might happen.
Well, I think I accept that to a point, but this isn't just about the steam packet. You know,
but you are one of the most concerned, surely, because it will affect you more.
We are concerned, but I mean, you know, we can address the issues by investing in different ships in the future, by creating different schedules, etc. So on our own, we would be able to maintain a viable business, I think. But that's not the issue. The issue is that what we've got at the moment suits the Isle of Man, and what we could potentially provide in the future wouldn't suit the Isle of Man. So it is a bigger issue than just the steam packet, and everybody needs to recognise that.
And who decided to get this group together to come as one voice on this?
Well, it's something we've been talking to the various different interested parties for some time. Obviously, the steam packet and the government through the Department of Infrastructure cooperate very closely anyway. And we've also been latterly involving Chamber of Commerce, Travel Watch obviously now have expressed their own concerns separately. And I think the time is right that we all join together, as we have done today, to try and make it clear that there's a vociferous and researched and committed body that are wanting to do their best to make sure that these wind farms, if they have to happen in such a way as to minimise our very important concerns about how we travel to and from the island in the future.